Once there was an artist who lived in a city on the shores of the shimmering sea. He was well known for his craft and respected by those he lived and worked with. He lived contentedly with his wife and his family in a small wooden house at the end of a quiet city lane. One night, the artist fell into a deep, dream-rich slumber. In his dreaming, he saw himself standing on a hill looking down upon a city where art was revered above all else. It was a city of music, of poetry, of sculpture, of painting, of theater, and of story. It was a city of rare glory. When the dreamer woke, that dream did not fade, as so many of our dreams do upon contact with the waking world. That idea of the city of art remained glistening in his mind's eye. Days passed, and still that image faded not. In time, the artist became convinced that what he had witnessed had not been a dream, but rather a vision of a real place, and this idea grew like a seed within his heart. His soul became restless, and he became possessed of a great desire to visit the place which had been revealed within his dreaming. "You are a fool," his friends told him when he spoke of his desire. "Surely no such place exists. It is a mad dream." "Stay here with us," the artist's wife and children pleaded with him. "We have all been happy here. Do not leave us alone." Deaf ears met their entreaties, and the artist could not be swayed. He kissed his wife and children goodbye, and waved farewell to his friends and neighbors. Placing one foot in front of the other, he set off along the road that wound out of the city, up away from the shimmering sea. The artist followed the road until the ocean's salt smell was a distant memory. He walked for days. Days became weeks, and weeks became months. Towns, mountains, forests rose to meet him and vanished behind him. But no one he met along the route had ever heard of the city of his dream. Each night the artist would sleep on the green sward by the side of the road. Every night before he went to sleep, the artist would take off his shoes and place them beside the path, the toes pointing in the direction he would journey the next day. Every morning he would wake, put on his worn shoes, and continue along, ever searching. One night, by chance, he met a fellow traveler on the road. They shared the tales of their journeys, but before long the artist, exhausted from his quest, fell asleep. The traveler contemplated the artist for some time, and then very carefully picked up the worn shoes and turned them around so that they were pointing back in the direction from which the artist had just traveled. In the morning the traveler was gone. The artist woke, put on his old shoes, and started off in the direction they indicated. He walked for days. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Forests, mountains, towns rose to meet him and vanished behind him. But this time, the further he walked, the more familiar the world seemed to become. One day his nostrils filled with a scent that awoke a distant memory, and as he crested a hill, he saw stretched out before him a great shimmering sea. There below, nestled against water's edge, was a city of rare glory glistening in the late afternoon sunlight. The artist's heart beat faster within his chest. He hurried down the hillside towards the city, and as he drew close, he saw that it was, after such great searching, the city of his dream. Everywhere he looked, he saw artists, performers, musicians, painting, sculpture, with tears in his eyes. The artist stumbled across a quiet laneway that looked more familiar than all the other streets in the city. There at the end was a small wooden house that looked identical to the one in which he had once lived happily with his wife and children. The artist reached out, opened the door, and stepped inside.